What's going on, everybody? It's Duran here from Sunrise Gaming. It is Friday, and as you guys know, it's time for Overwatch Overtime, the podcast sponsored by us, Sunrise Gaming. We do it every week on Fridays. It comes out. Lax and I talk about what happened during the week in Overwatch and the competitive scene, the pro scene, different things that would come up while we were playing, questions, comments that we can answer that, have been plaguing us all week. So, today, Lax, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. How about you?
Doing good, doing good. Just looking at our list here today, this week wasn't a super busy week for Overwatch.
hmm
Kind of a slower week. So for those of you tuning in, just a reminder: this podcast episode will probably not be as long as the others. And as you know, this is a podcast, so there's nothing going on in the background. There's no gameplay or anything. So if you have something to do, or you need to have something in the background while you're doing something, feel free to leave us on. We're gonna rant. All right,
Probably.
Lex. So looking off our list here, let's talk about the first thing that we put up here is the current competitive meta. What
hmm
what you want to talk about there?
Yeah, because it's interesting because we've seen such a radical shift from, triple tank or like kind of death volley 2-2-2, like really relying on good Ana play and a Lucio to speed you around. Now we're kind of seeing pretty much people dropping Reinhardt a lot. You don't see him a lot. He used to be the most dominant tank, but now you're starting to see Winston a little bit more just because the mobility of certain characters allows for them to survive a little bit more. Um, which can outlast fights and can help you focus down targets a little bit more if you don't have to worry about dying, and that relieves pressure from your support characters so that they can worry about helping the team rather than just constantly keeping people alive. So I think the current competitive meta is like it's in a good place, and obviously you're still going to see Reinhardt's just because they're a little bit easier to play in terms of what you have to do, if that makes sense. Because
Right.
Winston, you have to be bouncing in and out, you have to be focusing, you have to drop your bubble at the right time. Reinhardt's just kind of find where you can block the most damage, you try to pin somebody, you win. Um, so obviously, there's more to that, but in general, I think the higher you go in the ranks, you see the Winston Diva usually as the tank combination rather than like the previously used Reinhardt Zarya, which I think is really cool because I like the mobility characters a little bit more.
Yeah, and it seems like everybody is really starting to like that too. Like
Yeah,
more mobility wise. And that's why Reinhardt's not being picked up anymore. He's just too slow.
yeah. I mean he's good, but the enemy team takes a Winston. He jumps behind you. You can't do much. You have to either turn around and hit him, which means your barrier is now useless, or you have to stay forward and he can just sit there and like hurt your back line. So um,
Exactly.
being able to take another Winston against that is what works out.
Absolutely. And I'm convinced that, the triple tank meta is dead. Long live the dive. Clearly in the pro scene, it's you either dive or you counter dive.
Yeah,
So it'll
definitely.
slowly but surely trickle down to everybody else.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen. I mean, I'll go into the pro scene later, but I don't really think I've seen any sort of triple tank. There's there's kind of been some whatchamacallit, like turtle slash cheese comps on like first point defenses. That's usually just situational depending on the map and depending on like what happened in the previous rounds.
Hmm.
You'll see that on like Hanamura and Hollywood a lot, but um, I think most teams are going for that dive setup. I really think the meta is really open now, and teams are experimenting. You're seeing a lot of Stormbird picks. You're seeing Anna taking in dive, which people don't think Anna's really a dive character, but she can help assist the dive with her E and whatnot. So I
Right.
think it's really open, which is really great. I do want to talk about we don't have it specifically, but I want to talk about this Reaper because I'm starting. Maybe it's
This
just at
Reaper.
the ranks. This fucking Reaper. Maybe it's just the ranks that we play at. I don't know. I'm looking at higher ranks and he dies, but like not frequently. It looks like his survivability rate and his lethality rate is up a lot. I don't know. What have you taken away from the new Reaper?
He is the badass crusher. All he is damage and survivability. He has
Yeah,
nothing else to his kit. So shutting him down obviously makes a huge impact, but the way he is right now, there's no way to shut him down easily. There's no hard counter.
Right.
So I don't
I feel
know.
like it's just kind of like from what I've noticed, you kind of have to have like you have to really have teamwork to be honest to try to take down a Reaper because if nobody can really 1v1 unless you can stay at range. Like Afar can do a decent job, but all he has to do is avoid her and then he can terrorize the backline. Um, so it's really kind of like a team effort. Like get a diva to matrix him while you focus him.
Right.
Get a Sombra to hack him so he can't fly away and then focus him. Like I don't know. There's a bunch of different ways to do it, but it seems like it's a team effort, which tends to be problems for a lot of people, especially when you're like solo queuing or you don't have like your own six stack.
I feel like dive comp is a good counter to a Reaper though.
It is, but you have to have I think split comp, which is essentially dive but with one tank, um, because it focuses on you winning a lot of 1v1s. So long as you just like kill the supports and kill like at least one other DPS, then you kind of just focus on the Reaper. The thing with like dive comps is that the teams that run it well
Would probably
have really
just
good
ignore him.
communication. Yeah, they'll either ignore him or they just use really good um, um, communication in order to focus him down. Like I think really what the problem is just people don't want to work together. You're going to take at least two characters probably to take him down efficiently. Obviously, if you're a pretty decent player, you can probably take down an average Reaper, but you'd have to be on the right character and you'd have to have good positioning and probably catch him off guard. Like I don't know,
Absolutely.
but I mean because I've seen like other streamers and other like pro players playing at like masters and GM level, and they're having troubles with Reaper and all the way, and then obviously down in our ranks, he's kind of terrorizing, especially if people can figure out. So, do you think it was too much of a buff? Do you think they'll change him, or do you think he's fine where he is?
No, I think he's fine where he is because he can be countered by divas and CC.
Yeah,
So I think he'll be fine, or they won't do a whole lot of changes because of that. Because any form of CC is going to ultimately shut him down.
right,
So he's
right.
just so susceptible to it. He has one getaway, and that's it. Once
Yeah,
that's on cooldown, he's a walking target. So
yeah. And if you can stay at like a decent range from him, then you're fine because his shotguns can't do a lot. The problem is that he can sneak around.
yeah,
So
if
I
you're not
think
paying
just good
attention,
communication, you know.
you need to have eyes on Reaper at all times, pretty much. Your
Yeah.
flankers need to keep an eye on him because if you
Hmm.
lose him, somebody's gonna die.
Yeah, and when your support is yelling Reaper on me, everybody needs to turn and focus him. Like you can't lose your support in the middle of a team fight. Like you have to turn because he as soon as he gets the kill, he's getting out of there. So unless you stop him from getting the kill, he's gonna get the kill, wraith form, and get out of there.
Yep.
So if somebody calls out Reaper's behind us, everybody. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe it's what I've seen in our ranks. But why? Whenever I'm playing support, especially like Zen has zero mobility. Can't do
Mm-hmm.
anything. He gets dove hard all the time. He's good. You know, if a Winston dives me, I can put a lot of damage into him, but a lot of times he can kill me. So I get called on the Winston on me. Nobody's doing anything. Winston on me. Nobody's doing anything. Hello, anybody? Oh, the Anna now looks at me. The Anna has now tried to sleep and missed, and now I'm dead. Or our Tracer, who's bouncing in the back line, doesn't want to come back for a second to try to pump some lead into the Winston. But okay, that's fine. Just a little salty. Communication, people.
Which kind of leads into our one of our other topics, communication.
Communication in general. It's I mean we've all had those games where you walk in, you get into the main lobby and you're like, okay, what do we want to play? And people already pick, you know, 3 or 4 characters and the other two people fill and you don't talk much other than some call outs and you win. But that's not I don't think that's the majority of Overwatch and that's not how Overwatch is supposed to be played.
Yeah,
That's not how it's best played, I guess you could say.
that's a good
Um,
good term there. Yeah, how it's not best played.
Yeah, because obviously if you're really high skilled, then you can just dominate people and carry a team. But if the other team is also very skilled, then you can't just 1v1 everybody. You're going to have to actually work as a team, especially when it comes to ultimates, because if you're not communicating who's ulting what, it's very easy to over ultimate and overuse them, which can be a problem because especially if you're on defense, if you're not saving at least one support ultimate per team fight, or at least trying to, then you can just get wiped by, a Zarya Hanzo or a Zarya Raj or a good Reinhardt SmackDown or something. So, um, being able to communicate on ults is extremely important, as well as just focus fire. I don't know what
Mm-hmm.
it is. Maybe it's R rank, but like when I'm saying this guy's half, okay, I can't reach him now, but look, he's half. Oh, look, he's running over. Look, he's going to a health pack. Look, he's now full. Like, we had a good 15, 20 seconds of him just running around trying to find a health pack when you could kill him. It's not hard. And I don't know if it's. I know I say this a lot. I don't know if it's just our rank, but people tend to want to focus on healers and tanks first. And yes, killing their Mercy when she has res is a great, great play. Killing their Ana is a great play, but we shouldn't be focusing on a Lucio, and we shouldn't be focusing on a Reinhardt. If you take down their DPS, they can't kill you. Really that simple. Now, obviously, if you take down, like I said earlier, if you take down the Mercy with a res, that's a really good play. If their Ana's popping off and keeping everybody alive and sleeping everybody, yeah, you should probably kill her as well. But at the start of a fight, if you can get a pick on one of their DPS, you have now an extreme advantage. Getting a pick at any time, you're going to get an advantage, but if you can kill their DPS, you get an extreme advantage. I just feel like at our rank, the lower ranks, they just don't understand that. I've seen it sometimes at the higher ranks too, but I don't think it's much of a problem there as it is
I'd
our
say at the higher ranks, as soon as they get a pick, it happens. It doesn't
yeah
matter who it is. You're on a
yeah
5v6 or a 4v5, you take that numbers advantage and you push in.
yeah. I'm like, I
So,
guess getting the term getting a pick, like if I jump in as Winston, I'm jumping on their backline, and like a tracer flanks and kills their Ana. That's good. Okay, we have a pick, but if I die getting out of it, we now have to reevaluate our situation. We can't, full press in. Now Winston's kind of interesting because if he takes somebody down with him, you generally have an advantage. Um, but you can't say, "Oh, we got a pick now, we're good." If we then what's it called? Subsequently lose somebody. I don't know if that's
subsequently
the word.
lose somebody.
Yeah, right.
We
Thank you.
trade poorly.
Yeah, um you can't say, "Oh, we got to pick. Let's go." If I die immediately right after.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now a lot of times you can, depending on who you get the pick on, and
Right.
then or like if we're a man down, and because somebody got picked early, and then let's say we have a widow, and let's say I got booped off as Reinhardt by Lucio because that tends to happen every single freaking game. I go off the side, I'm dead, but then our widow hits a headshot. Somebody will always come into the mic and say, "Oh, we got to pick. Let's go." It's like you just lost your tank. It's now a fair fight. You can't. You got to commit to a fight. I agree, and it's an even fight, so you can fight it. But you can't go balls to the wall. You can't start blowing everything to try to win the fight because all it takes is one of their ultimates or good positioning by them, especially on like control point defense, for them to just outplay you. So being smart with the term "we got a pick gives you an advantage. If you're just evening the score, that's just a good kill, because the pick assumes that we have an advantage and we can go in and go ham on it. But I don't know. It all just depends on what you're playing and who's playing as, or when you're trying to get a regroup, but your widow's flying up and gets a nice headshot. Ooh, I'm really proud of you. That's a really good shot. That's not a pick. If we're trying to regroup and you're out in the front trying to get kills, those are good kills, but that's not a pick. We can't initiate on that because we don't have a regroup yet. It's just things like that annoy me because it creates this misconception of when you can go, when's the right time to play, how to play, and all these kinds of things.
Exactly. Team play versus solo play.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you okay?
Yeah.
So we kind of covered a couple other things on your list here. On your little rant there. Another thing we brought up was this is a good one. This is a good one, and if you're watching this, and feel free to comment about this. Why do you still play competitive?
Well, there's something about I don't know. I've always been a competitive person. You know this,
I'm very aware of
and
that.
so yeah, we both are. That's just how we are. And so running into quick play is a lot of fun, but and doing mystery heroes is fun or 3v3s. That's fun, but every now and then you just want to take your strengths to the next level. And this is like, I mean, video games to us are a fun hobby that we really enjoy and that we want to invest in. But being able to take things to the next level and getting the most out of the game is, I think, the best. So getting that team feel of talking to guys like, oh hey, you play this, oh I can play this. Okay, you're picking soldier, oh, I can diva, so I can matrix you. Like having that teamwork feel is really good because nobody talks in quick play. You're not supposed to. It's quick play. It's fun.
Yeah,
You
you're
know,
listening to
but being
music in
it,
the background, playing
yeah,
quick
like you're
play.
hanging out. You're trying a new character or something. Um, you're enjoying your time, but for those that because it's fun to win in quick play, but when I lose in quick play, I could care less. But if I win in competitive, it feels really good. And that's just the competitive side of me. And being able to adapt and being able to change with the meta. If their team is bringing in a Pharah and then us switching up our comp to take out their Pharah, it feels good. Like working as a team is fun, and I think that's what competitive brings. Because Blizzard did an amazing thing, and they instituted their own voice chat system, which makes competitive just so much easier. Because I know the guys that play League of Legends, I mean, good lord, there's so much toxicity because everybody just spams their keyboard the whole time. They don't actually like sit together and talk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and obviously, like not everybody is super talkative, but like that's not a problem so long as you can say yes or no. Like you can play competitive Overwatch. It's simple. But I don't know. I still play because it's fun. I don't take it. I don't. I've kind of just given up on my rank, to be honest. Um,
Just waiting for
but
next season.
yeah, just gonna reset that bitch. But but it's fun when it, I love it when a plan comes together. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
be cliche, but I love it when a plan comes together. Okay, you're gonna play that. I'm gonna play this because that they work well together, and we're gonna beat the enemy team, and you snowball them. Like that feels good. And then you have those games where it's like you're playing your heart out, and you're just in the middle of a huge brawl. Ultimates are going off everywhere. Everybody's like yelling at each other, not in a bad way, but just trying to communicate. It's just one of those intense games, and even when you win those, it feels great. But when you lose those, you're like, oh man, boy was that fun. Like those are the games you want.
Right.
Nobody wants to lose the game that you just get trounced. You want to lose the game that you worked your ass off for. It feels bad because you were so close, probably, but at the same time, you're like, oh boy, that was fun. That's the fun part of video games.
Yeah.
So that's why I still play because I still get my kicks out of the competitive and the teamwork. What about you?
No, I'm pretty much in the same boat, and I'm really close to my golden weapon, so
Yeah.
might as well keep it up. I am upset that my rank has gone down a lot, but hopefully with a new season and a change up and better placements, because we're not going to queue on first day
Yeah.
this time around, that maybe things will be better, and maybe the community will start to grow. But that's something else we want to talk about. I just feel like at the lower ranks, people just don't care about getting better. Once they get their rank, they're like, this is where I'm at. This is where I'll
Yeah.
stay. I don't care what other people. I don't care if they want to try to improve or not. So,
Right.
and I think that mentality comes from everybody in the quick play games and the arcade players coming over. This kind of influenced everybody
Yeah.
poorly.
Yeah, I might agree with you. I think it depends, person to person.
Sure.
'Cause I know if I got placed in silver this season, I was like, hell no, I'm not dealing with silver. Like I got out of there now. I'll talk about what happened after that, but um, but I totally agree. There are definitely some people that they just get placed in whatever, and they're like, meh, whatever. And part of me kind of envies that because I would love to be able to just play a competitive game, and if I lose, it's like, oh well, I'll get them next time, and I win. It's like, oh, I did really good, but like we just said, the competitiveness, it's hard to do that. But I think you might be right. I think there are just some people, especially gold and below, that just don't really care. I think what you start getting in, because gold is seen as kind of average, I guess,
Gold is where
and then
most players are, so.
exactly. So and platinum and diamond seem like okay, you're pretty good at this game, and then grandmaster and master and top 500 are like okay, you're really good at this game. So the higher you go, I think the less you see that, but definitely in the lower levels, you kind of see my rank is whatever. I'm playing to have fun, which I get that it is a game at the end of the day. But if you really don't care about your rank, and you're trying to get kicks out of teamwork and like competitiveness, then just you can scrim, but that takes 12 people. Or you can just get a 2, 3, 4 stack going and just try to win as many games as you can in quick play. Like I really feel like there's a reason they call it competitive is because you want to be competitive. Competitive implies that you're gonna be competing with your best abilities to try to improve and try to win.
Yeah.
So when you don't see that, it's really sad in my opinion.
No, I'm with you on that one. It is sad, and there's just nothing we can do about it because everybody's different, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I just wish people would be like competitive. That sounds like fun. It's like no, this is where I'm gonna play if I really want to take my game to the next level.
exactly. So okay, that was it for our list here. So you got some pro stuff you want to talk about, and then we can wrap this up. So fire
Yeah,
away.
just Apex is really good. It's coming to a close. We saw here. Let me pull it up. We saw Lunatic High win. Really good game. They beat. Gosh, who they beat? I'm not sure. But in their like quarterfinals sort of elimination game, they went 3-0, and it wasn't like an absolute trouncing, but it was really good. Um, One thing that stuck out to me, which you're seeing more and more, and we've talked about in past podcasts, is just more Sombra play. And honestly, it's interesting because I don't know if this is on purpose or what, but when you it seems to me when you run an attack Sombra into a defensive Sombra, the defensive Sombra is going to have an advantage. Um, However, I saw it was Lunatic High. I waiting on this to pull up, but whoever they were playing was on attack, and they ran the offensive Sombra, but somehow their offensive Sombra was able to get the majority of health packs around the point.
Mm,
Now, they were playing um, they were playing sort of this uh, it was a really weird comp. Trying to remember. It was they had a Torbjorn, Anna, and then a triple tank, and then something else. I think a Lucio, because you always take Lucio. Um, but it was weird because yeah, it was a triple tank, and I'm like, why are we running a triple tank? Why is this a thing? Why are we? I thought the triple tank was dead, but it was a first point hold against a team that was known for taking first points very quickly. So they knew because I mean at that level, first point holds are really hard. You kind of just get trounced pretty easily. Um, so for them to try to figure out, okay, how it's more of what it seems like is a delay. Eat as much time off the clock as you can. So
right.
you're eventually probably gonna get beat just because at this level the attacking team is just so good. Um, which is interesting. Um, so I thought it was cool how they essentially yeah, it was Orisa, I think a Reinhardt, and a Diva, I think. So they were playing super turtly, and the announcers at the beginning were like, "What are they doing?" And then with like 10 seconds left, they're like, "Oh my gosh, they're actually going to keep it."
Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting to see this kind of what we call turtle comp um, in in the pro scene. And then but Lunatic Guy still won. I think they just ate up a lot of time from that, and they ended up just winning subsequently. It was on Icon Wall that they were doing that. Um, and then they were just able to win in streets, which was really good. Like I've always been saying, keep watching Apex if you want to see high quality. The next game is Afrika versus LW Blue, I think, and
Mm-hmm.
those no, Afrika versus Lunatic High, I think. And I would say Afrika is looking really good in that. First of all, it's the teams that are left. We'll break it down for that. The teams that are left are Afrika, LW Blue, and Envious and Lunatic High. Lunatic High won season 2, Envious won season 1, and Afrika and LW Blue are newer to the scene, but they are looking very good. So for them to be able to sort of come in and say, because Envious is looking really good, but from what I've seen, they're not really favored. Like nobody's really overall favored, but um, they're looking like they are, um, gonna maybe go into the finals. So if they do, then that's really good for the NA scene. But the other three Korean teams are looking extremely good. Lunatic High looks really good. Afrika looks really good, and LW looks really really good. I think it's the Afrika Zen that's like considered the best Zen in the world. One of those South Korean, one of their Zens is just
Really
insane.
good.
Like, yeah, it's just insane. He's really they consider him because you have Miro for I think it's who does
Lunatic
he play
Eye.
for? Lunatic Eye, who's probably one of the best Winstons, and some people consider him the best tank in the world. But it kind of goes back and forth because Winston's just a weird character in general. But like it's pretty set in stone that this Zen player, I'm struggling to remember his name, he's considered extremely good. And it's his orbs are always out, and he's constantly hitting his shots. Um, so that can really change the game if your Zen's popping off. So I know for a while teams were trying to go back and forth on triple support, which essentially revolves around your Zen hitting a lot of shots. But I mean, ultimately, it's a lot easier to play like a Tracer or a Genji or a Soldier or a Pharah instead of having three supports and having one of your supports deal out the damage. Um, so that's what Apex is looking like. The next game is going to be Afrika versus Lunatic High tomorrow, really early in the morning because they're playing in Asia. It'll be at 6 in the morning if anybody wants to watch. I might stay up and watch it because that's gonna look good. we'll see, or we can just watch the VODs. And I was incorrect. KD beat LW Blue.
Oh,
KD or Kongdu Panthera is playing Envious in 4 days, so like this upcoming Sunday or Monday, something like that.
that'll be a good game.
That's going to be really good. I was listening to some of the announcers, and they're kind of thinking Afrika and Envious in the finals. But honestly, it's a toss-up. Miro's looking really good. Obviously, Taimu and Envious are looking really good. I think it's Ryu Zhang or something. Is that Zen player I was telling you about? I think he plays for.
Oh, but he's a better Anna.
Oh no! Maybe it's not him. Yeah, that's right. Ryu is the great Ana
Yeah.
player. There's so many. There's a Zen that everybody was freaking out over because he went off in his last game. Like he was just killing everybody. Um, trying to remember. I think it's might be KD's Zen. But anyways, it's looking really good, and we're also seeing we're starting to see these guys do some online tournaments. In Envious just played Cloud9, and they also played FaZe Clan and the MLG Vegas 100K tournament. So we're starting to see teams that play internationally and play in Korea come back and show these guys. I think Envious has kind of been dominating. But I mean, what do you expect? Lunatic High played NRG in the APAC Premier. It's another small tournament. Um, there's a bunch of channels out there that you can check out these pro VODs. Contenders are still looking good. I'm not quite sure. Are they out of the round robin stage yet?
For contenders, no.
No. Yeah, so they're still playing. They're playing a lot of games because there's a lot of teams, and they really want to try to make sure they get the best teams for the Overwatch League. Have we heard any updates about the Overwatch League?
No, they're gonna see how contenders goes first. So
All right, cool. All right, so yeah, that's pretty much from the pro scene. Apex is looking good, and there's a couple smaller tournaments that some of the South Korean teams and the international teams are taking part in the NA tournaments. So check them out. It's looking good. Like I said, if you want to see the best Overwatch, you need to watch Apex because these last two, we have the two semifinal games and then the finals games, and those are going to be probably the best Overwatch you'll see all year.
definitely. So anything else?
That's it for me.
All right, that'll do it for this week's episode of the Overwatch Overtime podcast. Good luck on your matches over the weekend. Enjoy watching some professionals play this weekend, and we will see you next time. Have a good night.
Bye.